you're the busiest guy in show business, I think.
Well, I think that's good and bad, right?
It can be. Tale of Tales, let's start with that, because that's where I started to notice who you were.
Yeah.
What an incredibly deep and noir series this is.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because this project was not mine to begin with. I'm usually the guy who does my own writing, and I have feedback people, but usually I control to some degree from beginning to end a project. And on this one, I was brought in to play Nick, the main character of the series. And I loved the character because he's, I mean, when it comes to dream roles, it's about as close as you get. It's a fantastic role to get to live out and play. And I was super excited, but the original story, everything was centered around Nick. And I said, you know, if we are only living in his bubble, I said, we're alienating, a big part of an audience that I think would love this. So I told the guy who, Tevis Markham, who wrote the original pilot, I said, think about the shows that we've lost over the years as man shows and say, have they been replaced? So I said, The Sopranos, not replaced. We lost it. It's gone. And this hasn't been replaced effectively. Sons of Anarchy, great man show, hasn't been replaced effectively for me. So when I looked at all those really good shows, I just felt that we needed to widen the scope a little bit and have some more characters involved in the storytelling. So that's kind of what I brought to the table. But I love Tale of Tales. To me, it's just so fantastic because it doesn't glorify anything. It gives you a really raw look behind the scenes of a blue collar strip club.
But there's something also very 1940-ish Bogart about this that really captured me, because it's, once you sit through the first episode, you want to see more and more and more, because the characters are so well defined.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I've been to enough writing seminars that when I started working on writing with Steve Copera, who wrote most of the rest, when we were sitting down, we were so in tune. You wouldn't even believe it, but like literally, he would write like 7 pages, kind of get stuck. I would start writing and I'd write the next 10, and then he'd write the 4 last pages of the episode. I've never done anything like this. We were just like, it was an amazing thing. And I think the story really benefited from it because I never had to dig myself out of my own holes. Steve did.
Well, and that's what writing with a partner does is, writing generally is a very lonely job. And sometimes you don't see the obstacles in the way, and your partner does. And it's just great if you guys have that kind of
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, we actually, to give you a spoiler, but the season ends on a pretty serious cliffhanger, to say the least. That was not the ending we had originally worked out. It was a completely different thing where Nick was going to go a much more selfish route and essentially eliminate some team members in order to get out. And we wanted to make him a little bit more redeemable, so that the decision was made. And when I got the script from Steve, I'm like, wow, I can't even, yes, this is it. This is fantastic. And I didn't even see it. I didn't see it coming. So that was pretty cool, because that was not the original plan. And I'm stoked that you're seeing it, because that means it worked.
We live in a time where people have no attention span. And so I'm telling people, give this, 3 episodes, give this 4 episodes to kind of define itself, because once you get caught up into it and you're taken over by these characters, this is a great ride for an audience to go through to it. And your cast is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of my cast, because most people don't know that, I mean, we have a few name guest stars, and between Jan and Blanca and Richard and Mike Emery, we have some cool names in there, but our local cast is almost completely Michigan original and local, which I think a lot of people get surprised by. And somebody told me it's almost like it's not acting. It's almost like it was hidden cameras capturing this stuff. And I see a little bit of that. Not reality quite, but I do see what they mean. The rawness of it is pretty potent. It's a raw series.
This series, though, has caught people's attention. You tell me a little bit about the Emmys, and now that you're Emmy qualified, that must have been a joyous moment when you got that letter.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really. First of all, our festival run was awing for me because I didn't know if it was too spicy, honesty, for the majority of the festivals out there. And we literally made it into every single festival except 2. We got turned down by Tribeca and like another one of those big guns. That's it. Otherwise, we got taken in and won at a rate I've never seen before. And then when we released the series itself, I believe we're an 8.6 on IMDb, which I've never had a project that hung at 8.6. That's crazy numbers. That's Stranger Things type of numbers, which is wild. But yeah, when we found out, because Blanca asked me, she said, I have a friend of mine who wants to nominate me for my performance in Tales. Do you know if we're eligible? And I said, I have no idea. So I said, let me look into it. And she goes, well, I already have somebody else looking into it, but I thought I just wanted to check if you knew. But whoever it is that is a member that nominated her, we were already in the system, so we were eligible right out of the gate, which I was shocked. And then we got the email saying, yeah, we're eligible for all categories. So here we are.
As a single mom, I want to make sure my kids have healthy teeth. Going to the dentist can be expensive. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. Then I found TDA, and for about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers my family on over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these policies. Call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
Did you start as a dancer?
So I was a martial artist and a break dancer, and I got my very first break on a cabaret style show with musical guests back in Sweden when I was a teenager. And it just been, I just got so bit by the bug. I think acting is so fascinating. I think the methods are so fascinating. I could geek out talking about the different methods and the Stanislavski origin. I could go sit all day and geek out about that stuff. I'm a true acting nerd.
Yeah, because there's so many different methods, as you said. Stanislavski, there's Meisner. You know, there's schools of thought where you don't do anything like that, and everything seems to work. It just depends on what you are comfortable with.
Yeah, and sometimes it depends on the role. I mean, I like Stella Adler, I like Strasberg, I like Meisner. If you pin me down and said you have to follow one system, I'd probably be a Sanford Meisner guy. But I still enjoy some of the other things. I still like incorporating music. I still like to incorporate, even thinking about your character and their weight distribution, how they walk. I think sometimes doing those things to fill in your character can really do a lot. It depends on the character. I think you have a blank canvas and you got to pick what tools you're going to use each time, and it's not always the same. So yeah, I'm a big fan of definitely digging into characters.
What I think you shine at, and you know, I've done my research, is the fact that I think when you do a production that doesn't have a lot of money behind it, that's where all the creative juices flow. And that's where, you know, you as a creative person shine, because you wear so many hats that nothing slows you down. You don't stop and go, oh, you just do it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You got to find ways. And it's one of them things that life is to me an obstacle course. So, you know, I'm going to go over, I'm going to go around, I'm going to go under, sometimes I'm going to go through, but I'm going to keep moving. And it's one of them things that I've realized that, like, you know, I'm not stopping, and I'm coming for it all. And people at this point, you can either say, hey, I'm on Team Harley, or you can try to stop me. But I feel really good about my chances. I think I surround myself with really good people, and I think talented people want to work with talented people. And I think when you take the time to make sure that, you know, you don't fly in Richard Tyson to be in one episode of your series for, you know, what was that, 11 pages or whatever it is, unless you're going to make him look really good. And they know that about me. And I appreciate that, because that helps me too. Because they, you know, they're willing to do favors for me. They're willing to take a little bit less, knowing that I'm going to showcase them well. And that's humbling as well. But I'm so grateful for that, because it gives me a fighting chance without having the resources of my competition.
I think that's something for young filmmakers and young directors and producers to understand, is it's not just about the production you're in. It is your reputation.
Yep.
And how you treat other people, you know, over time, that will bring people back to you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's so funny about some of the people that I've had out. I heard horror stories about them, and then they come on my set and they're amazing. And I sometimes the last day will be, hey, got a quick question for you. I heard some crazy things about you before you came out. You've been amazing to work with. What's the deal? And you know what they all say? Every now and then you end up on a set where you're there a half hour before the director. They're not prepared. They don't know what they're doing. They're casting their friends. So I have to act across from his uncle who can't act. Yeah. And he's like, it's so disrespectful to somebody that has paid their dues to do that. And yes, sometimes that affects my attitude. And I'm like, wow, makes sense.
Is it hard to direct yourself?
So yes, it is. The beauty of it is I don't have to. So I know that I'm only one person, and that to make a film takes a village. So what a lot of people don't know, my cinematographer, Alex Gasparetto, who's been with me on the last, I think, 4 projects, he's a director. So when I step off camera, I have an eye on me. And if I'm off, he'll pull me and go, hey, Harley, I think, you know, whatever it is, you know, the emotion or wherever, you know, maybe you're forgetting where you're coming from or where you're going to, or maybe you just missed the mark a little bit. So they'll do that with me. My first AD, Joe Victor, he's a director. So he keeps an eye on me. So I'm always surrounded by people that I trust to give me the feedback that I need, because you can't see your own performance the way you need to. I just do the very best I can. I'm the very first book I read when it comes to this was An Actor Prepares. And I think that's the embodiment of anybody who's really taken that book seriously. You show up and you have the tools to do what you need to do. And now it's just somebody needs to be an eye on you. You gotta, you know, every now and then you just forget a little bit of where you came from and where you're going. And somebody will just nudge you and you go, you know, and it does happen.
did you learn as you go? Did you take business courses?
So I came from the business side. So when I was in Sweden and I was acting and I moved over here, it was just acting. I never had any dreams to pursue anything beyond that. But after that, I got sidetracked, family, kids, and all those type of things. And I was climbing career ladders for quite a while. So I've taken the Carnegie management courses and stuff like that. So I'm pretty self-aware when it comes to the business end of things. I'm smart enough to know I need a lawyer to read the contracts. There are a lot of contracts when it comes to distribution that are straight up predatory.
Are you happy?
I'm so happy. I feel so blessed. I found my way back to all the things that I love a little later in life. And I think in a way it's really good, because if I was, 25 years old when these things were taken off, I don't know if the ground under my feet would have been firm enough. So I'm really, really happy that it's now, and I'm really, really happy that I am. And I don't know if you've remember the flashback of the two little girls that play the younger versions of the stripper and the police officer. That's my wife, and the girls are our kids.
Oh, nice.
So the fact that this is a family affair the way it is incredibly special to me, because me and my wife are probably as good of business partners as we are a husband and wife, as we are best friends, which is so rare to find.
And I think what adds to all of this is the success is the fact that we are now living with the pandemic and people at home. The streaming situation has gotten so good, and the field has been leveled for smaller productions, going up against big blockbusters, and these smaller productions are starting to find their audience, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it was really funny. I was just in LA. Our film Ash and Bone was screening at Chinese theater, and we had a little over half full theater coming in for it, and the feedback afterwards was incredible. We literally we moved the Q&A portion outside to the couches because people just had that many questions and comments. But one of the things that really jumped out at me was, and I don't want to throw other films under the bus, but they were talking about studio films, and there's a new one that's a remake and another reboot and remake, whatever, that's out recently. And they said, I watched it and it was cool, great special effects, cool shots, but there was no emotional attachment to anyone on screen. It was just shock and awe, bone breaks and blood and gore, rather than a good story where we care about somebody and hate or dislike somebody. Like, it didn't have an emotional response other than the spectacle. And they said, like, your film has so much substance that by the time things happen to people, you care so much because you've been with them. You've got to experience with them before things happened, or maybe you got to experience a different part of their life or whatever it may be, and how much that means. And I'm thinking to myself, this is basic storytelling. And I know the instant gratification time that we're in is tricky, but without knowing the people, we can't care about them.
Yeah, and you don't forget that in what you do, because you have to build a relationship with your audience for something to be successful, for them to want to come back and revisit these characters. And a lot of these new guys don't understand that you just can't go right into action. You have to build a respect for the character.
Yeah. And I think ultimately we really watch films for the intra-human relation. We want to see the drama. We want to see the emotional waves. We want to see how they deal with things, because that's what we identify with. That's who we are. We are the people that sometimes do the right things and sometimes screw up, and sometimes go too high and sometimes too low. And sometimes we have the money and sometimes we don't. So that's what we like seeing.
Millions of people are losing their dental coverage every year or can't afford dental care due to the high cost. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. But there is an answer, TDA. For about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, TDA has a plan that's right for you, starting about $1 a day. So call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
Harley, our time is almost over, and
Wow.
See, it goes really quick.
It flies.
I want to congratulate you on everything
Thank
that you're
you.
doing. You've got like 3 or 4 projects that are just like in the works. You've got things coming out. You've got Tale of Tales going on.
Yeah.
Like I said at the very beginning, you're the busiest man in show business.
I love the journey, the filmmaking side of things, pre-production to post-production. I love it all.
Harley, again, thank you so much for your time today, and congratulations.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.